Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm just doing this video to answer all the questions that you had from the previous video that we uploaded. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go and first watch the previous episode, and then I'm just here to answer all those questions.
Mr. Percy, we've got a couple of questions here. Nelly Rametape says, what are the tax implications of you, I suppose, paying your house in 3 years? Did it come with any tax implications?
No. When we talk about debt, a debt cannot be taxed. That's the good thing about debt. That's why people always compare between putting money in the bank account or in a debt, which for me, I think the best one is to put it in a debt because a debt cannot be paid, it cannot be taxed. So if you have a debt and then you pay it off, no one is going to tax you. It's a different thing if you are going to sell that house. Then it becomes a different topic to say, are you going to be taxed? But when we are just talking about paying off, settling off a house, you don't get taxed for that. And then there's a lot of people who says maybe there are even penalties that you pay the bank by paying off the house early. For me, I've done this 2 times. I've paid off houses 2 times, and then I've never been given a penalty for paying a house as soon as possible or in 3 years.
Matome says, do you offer one-on-one property investment advice?
Okay. In the past, I used to give a one-on-one consultation, but the more you are doing events and then you are doing a lot of events, you end up not having time of your own to do your own personal things. So I stopped the one-on-one a long time ago. So I only encourage people to come to our seminars and then they can learn from the seminars. And also, if you want, you can also learn from my book by buying my book. That's the other option which you can use.
Vicious Sharks says, how do you pay the bond every day?
Okay, when we talk about paying off the bond every day, this is what confuses people. People are thinking that I'm saying if you've got 32,000 or 31,000, it means you must pay 1,000 every day until the end of the month. And that's not what I was saying. I was saying when you receive money, you must take a portion of that money and pay it towards the bond. So it also talks about having multiple streams of income, because if you only have one stream of income and then you are only getting paid on the 31st of the month, you won't be able to pay the bond on a daily basis. But if there's money coming in every day, you are selling a product, then it becomes easy for you to pay it on a daily basis.
Okay. Musantinga says, hey, Percy, how do I approach the bank if I need to tell them to stop debiting the money so that I can personally transfer to the bank?
No. That one is not possible to just say the bank must stop debiting you, because it's not possible. So you can just as well pay extra besides stopping them from taking the debit order. Let's say they are taking a debit order of 5,000. You can go and say, okay, I will pay an extra 2,000 every month. Then you pay 7,000 that you wanted to pay. So you don't have to stop the bank so that you can pay the 7,000. You can still do it by paying extra 2,000.
Okay, that's great stuff. Lesedi says, Percy, what can you advise if I want to buy a house with a 6-year maximum term? I guess just like you, double.
Yes.
I have a full-time job and side hustle, but I mainly depend on my full-time job.
Yes. I think you should not focus only on the term to say the term must be six years. It can be a 20-year bond, but you say I'm going to pay it off in 6 years. Then you can do calculations. Now there are calculations that you can do. You can go online and look for extra payment calculators where you can calculate to say, if I pay extra this much on the bond, how long will it take for me to finish this bond? Then you can be able to calculate to say, I want to finish it in 6 years. So this means this is the amount that I must pay every month. And it's even better for you when the bond is lower, so that even those months that you then have money, you can be able to go away with without having that extreme bond as it is. Yeah.
So another question is, thanks a lot, my mentor. We're learning every day. Just one question. After you paid off your house, did you completely close the bond? I heard that if you completely close it, the taxman will follow you.
No, it's the same as the other question. There is no tax that you pay for settling a bond. There is no tax that you pay for settling a bond. But it's also a good thing to leave it open. If you are somebody who is into investment, so that you can be able to access that money and use it in another property. Let's say you have paid extra amount of 1 million in the bond. It means you've got access of 1 million. You can take that 1 million tomorrow and go and buy another house cash if that's what you want. So for your next house, you don't even have to go to the bank and they have to check your affordability and check your credit score. You just take money from an existing house which is having an open bond, and then you use that money to buy another house.
Okay. All right. So you have user EJ4.
Yes.
Says, good day, Mr. Singo. Just a question I need your advice on. I have a 4-bedroom house in an estate that I'm building, and it's 90% finished. Upon completion, I would like to rent it out and not sell it so as to build a portfolio. How do I go about renting it out without involving an agency? Because I don't want to sell the house.
Okay, you can. I mean, now the property companies like your company which you use to advertise, they allow the owner to advertise there on their platforms. So you can go by yourself and say, okay, I've completed this house in an estate. I'm going to rent it out. Then you go and advertise it there. And then you can be the one to even manage the tenants. But obviously, you will need some information on how to vet the tenants to make sure that you get a good tenant, because you don't want a non-paying tenant. You want a tenant that will pay, and you want a tenant that will stay longer. So you have to have a contract. You must be having systems in places to manage those tenants, because if you don't know, you can end up making mistakes and you have people who are not paying you.
Okay. Then you have a question from Mighty Love. Great content. Thank you. Question. Did you buy all the properties under your name or entity, company, trust? And what are the advantages and disadvantages of the strategy that you chose? And last question, what are the tax implications of owning a rental property? Do you pay tax on the profits of the rent that you receive?
Okay. I wouldn't like to talk about me to say, am I buying them on a personal capacity or on a business? But I will say the best principle, the best place to buy, it will be through a business rather than through personal capacity, because if you check the tax of a person, it goes up until almost 40%, 41%. And then if you check the tax of a business, it's around 28%, which already tells you that it's better when your property is under business. I mean, for wealth protection, it's much better when it's in a business. And then for every business in South Africa, it's like if you earn an income, you have to, it's pay as you earn. If you earn an income, you have to pay tax. So it's on every business. It's not only on property. And then when we talk about property, obviously when you declare on to SARS, they will ask you to say, what are you paying on interest on that house? Not what are you paying on the house. What are you paying on interest on the house? Let's say you bought a house for 500,000. You'll find on interest you are paying something like 4.6. So let's say in that property you are earning 10,000 on rental income. Then already you say 10,000 minus the 4.6 which you are paying on interest. Then you also minus the other expenses like electricity, the other expenses that you are incurring. You all minus them. Let's say you remain with 4,000. Then they only tax the 4,000 that remain after all the expenses.
Yeah, it's full. Says Chisio Kaladzi Harina Nzeve Cafe. Google Translate says we have ears.
Yeah, that who have ears, let him hear.
Oh, that's
The one who has ears, let him hear. Yeah, that's what it means.
beautiful. Well, at least you got it first time. I had to hit Google Translate. Geoffrey says, "Hi, can you explain how I can pay extra into my home loan account? Do I first go to the bank and ask if I can? And do I let the bank know that going forward I want to pay extra?" And another question aligned to that says, do they calculate for you and show you that if you pay this much extra, this is how long it will take to finish your bond?
Okay. At first, for me, I've never went to the bank and say I'm planning to pay extra. But I've had people who say they paid extra without telling the bank and money was sent to the wrong place. So I feel like it will only be fair for you to go to the bank and inquire to say, I'm going to pay extra. I want this extra to go into the capital amount. Then it becomes clear to the bank or what they must do with the money. But for me, I paid extra without communicating with the bank, and it also worked. And you don't really need the bank to help you to calculate to say if you pay extra, this is what will happen. You can do it yourself. It's something which you can calculate by yourself to say if I take the amount that I'm owing times the percentage that I got the house for times the number of days in a month. Divide by the number of days in a year. So let's say you have a house of 1 million. You just say 1 million times 10% times 31 days, divide by number of days in a year, 365. Then you will get the amount which the bank must take on interest and how much the house must reduce by. So it's a calculation you can do by yourself. Yeah.
Beautiful. Nadine says, where can I find information about your seminars?
Yes. Seminars is always social media. I always post on social media. Unfortunately, I don't have a calendar to say this is where I'm going because I can be sitting here and get a call to say next week we are having a seminar. Can you come through? So they come every time, but I always post on my social media pages.
All right. So best thing is to follow Percy on socials. This one is not a question. I was wondering if I'm reading it or not, but here we go. I want to see your take on this one.
Yes.
This is Augustine says, while this is very informative, I'm not happy about the curtain in the kitchen.
No, don't worry, because that kitten, I'm no more using it since I moved from that house.
All right. Talk to, yeah, says, thank you for the insights. I wanted to ask someone who might want to buy and rent properties. How do you deal with the taxes from sales? I guess that.
Yes,
that
this
you
one we have
answered.
already explained it, yes.
It's been cool, man.
Yes.
Loving your answers. And remember, pop in more questions if you want answers like this.
No, thank you so much for watching the video. We appreciate you, and you must subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much.